In this video, we're gonna go over just some of the things that you should probably know before you move to the downtown Frederick area. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so if this is your first time checking out the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell. My name is Ricardo Diaz. I'm actually a local realtor here in the Frederick area, and I do videos about all things Frederick. Whether it's working, eating, sleeping, playing, the good and the bad, I cover it all. So be sure to go ahead and check out some of my other videos. And if a move to the Frederick area is something you're looking to do this year, be sure to go ahead, shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call. I'm constantly helping people day and night just like you move to the Frederick area, and I absolutely love it. Let's get into this. All right, so if you aren't from the Frederick area, or you guys are just thinking about the move down here and you're looking to be in the downtown area, you have picked probably one of the most popular places in Frederick to live. The downtown area is gonna span from the right side of 15 and above 270 up till about 16th Street and all the way over till about Church Street, which will turn into Monocacy Boulevard as well. So that's gonna be the kind of downtown Frederick area itself. You will find that in the downtown Frederick area, especially closer to Market Street, you're gonna have a lot of older style row homes. These are gonna be homes that were built kind of like in the 1800s, the early 1900s. Some of them are even older than that. So when it comes to newer construction in downtown Frederick, you're gonna find that it's generally going to be curated towards the luxury side. On Carroll Creek, you will have the Carroll Creek condominiums. Those actually are extremely nice. Some of those can get into the really high, like almost $500,000 for a condo. But what's nice is they have their own parking garage. You're right on Carroll Creek. You can walk out and be in downtown Frederick, and essentially as long as it takes you to get out the front door. Up to the northern side of downtown Frederick, you will have some along 5th Street. Those are going to be kind of like townhouse style condos. Some of those have 2-car garages in them as well. And then you will find over towards 7th Street, there are some newer kind of single family style and townhouse style homes in that area as well. There's also a luxury neighborhood that is being built right next to downtown Frederick called East of Church. It's probably my favorite neighborhood in all of Frederick. If you have any questions about some of the houses in Frederick, Maryland that are currently up for sale, whether it's a newer home or an older home, definitely be sure to give me a call. Now, when it comes to some of the homes in downtown Frederick, you might be wondering, Ricardo, you know, there's not a big area. I really want to find my home. Like, what's going on with downtown Frederick? Well, there is good news. So they're actually right now, as part of East of the Church neighborhood, they're looking at developing the entire area right now into what we call like the East of Church side of downtown Frederick. So in there right now, it's just a bunch of fields, but they are going to be constructing Wren Quarter. Again, if you have any questions about the development that's going on in that area, again, be sure to give me a call. And if newer homes aren't your thing, there's nothing wrong with having an older home in downtown Frederick. In fact, they're highly sought after, and some of them are even nationally protected as well. Now, you can also find tons of homes that need to be renovated if you're looking for your own project. You can also find flips that are just now hitting the market. I will say there are some areas in downtown Frederick where you do have to watch out for the Historical Preservation Society. There's a very limited amount of those houses in downtown Frederick itself. Basically what they're there for is to kind of protect some of the beauty and nature of the older style building techniques they used to have as well. Think of it kind of as like a unwritten HOA. Now, the nice thing about living in downtown Frederick is you are going to be walking distance to all the bars and restaurants. There's tons of events that happen in downtown Frederick itself. To name a few, are going to be in the streets. We also have a Live at 5. Anytime there's a major event going on in Frederick itself, it's typically going to be in or around downtown Frederick. Now, that's going to lead me into my next thing, which is going to be parking. Now, living in downtown Frederick, parking is one of those top commodities that everybody is really looking to have. Now, if you are going to be renting in downtown Frederick, make sure that the apartment that you are looking to have or looking to rent includes off-street parking. If it doesn't, then you will have to go ahead and get with the parking authority in downtown Frederick. That also goes for if you're buying a home too, make sure that there's a designated spot. If it doesn't have one, it's not a big deal. What you do is you take your rental agreement or a copy of the deed to the Downtown Frederick parking headquarters. You can go in there, and for about like $50 or $60, you get a residential pass. You can put that in the corner of your car. And what this actually lets you do is this lets you park on any metered side street essentially for free. The only time you can't park there is on a trash night. So just be sure before you park, make sure it's not a trash night. So that way, you know, when you go to renew your tags, you don't have to spend $600 like I did. So just be careful about that. If you don't want to do the residential parking pass permit, then another thing you can also do living downtown when parking is tight is you can get a subscription with the parking garage. Now, the only con to the parking garage subscription is that you don't get a reserved spot. So you could be paying for a monthly subscription, and on a Friday night, you could come to a completely jam-packed parking garage. So it is an option to do. Just be reminded you're not getting your own spot, and the sticker is always a nice backup, cheap alternative to have as well. Also too, if you come out of a shop and you find that your car has been ticketed, the parking authority kind of has this kind of awesome, sick, cruel, race to the clock type thing that they offer. Where basically, if you take the ticket within 30 minutes of it being placed on the hood of your car to the Downtown Frederick Parking Authority, they will actually waive that ticket up to twice a year for you. Again, it's one of those things where you walk out, gotta take a look at the time the ticket was written and say, hey, can I get from this street to the headquarters across the street from the courthouse in 30 minutes. On a Friday, that might be a little tough, but you know, it's one of those things where at least they give you a way to get out of it instead of just having to be like, hey, here's a fine. Another thing you should know about downtown Frederick is the side streets themselves. They can be tricky, especially if you're not familiar with town. The reason being is Market Street's gonna be a one-way street going north. You have Bench Street's gonna be a one-way street for the most part going south. Then you're gonna have East Street, which is gonna be both ways. But in between there, you're gonna have side streets like Church Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street. Those are gonna alternate direction every other street. So you have to make sure you're turning on the right one in the right direction. Otherwise, you can be turning onto a one-way in the wrong direction. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, especially on Friday, Saturday nights, they might have had a couple too many and end up turning the wrong way. And you don't want to be greeted by the police that way. Let's just say that. All right. So another thing that you're going to find just living in downtown Frederick yourself, Frederick is a small town, but the downtown area is kind of like a small town within a small town. After a while, you're going to see familiar faces everywhere. Going out to some of the local bars as a regular, you're going to have that kind of Cheers vibe where you can go in there and they just put a drink down and, you know, it's like, hey, what are you having? You're like, here's your usual. So just living downtown is a ton of fun. I personally lived down there 5 years myself. So one question that I'm constantly being asked is, Ricardo, is downtown Frederick a really safe place for me, my family, or for me to go ahead and purchase a home? I will say this, I lived in downtown Frederick personally for 5 years myself in my early 20s. There was never a time where I felt like my life was in threat or in danger. Now, I always tell my clients, hey, go do your own due diligence. Go to like the Frederick News Post, check out the crime section, maybe find like a third-party website where they report some crime statistics and things like that, and really ask yourself if you are going to be comfortable living in that area. Now, I will say that the Frederick downtown area is a city environment, and when you have a city environment, there typically tends to be one or two bad apples every now and then here or there. Now, another thing I will note on that is that the downtown Frederick, or rather the Frederick City Police, is located right in the center of downtown Frederick, and they do have a good presence when it comes to monitoring and patrolling downtown Frederick itself. So I hope that answers any questions you have about the safety. Again, I personally lived down there for 5 years and I never thought like it was an unsafe place, but I do respect if others feel differently. When it comes to schools in downtown Frederick, you are gonna have several options. There is Parkway Elementary School. You can go ahead and check that out on greatschools.org. Also, you're gonna find that the high schools that downtown Frederick feeds are gonna be both Frederick High School, and if you're on the northern end of downtown Frederick, TJ High as well. And we're also home to the Maryland School for the Deaf. So we actually have a huge deaf community in Frederick itself. What's nice about that property is actually located on a historic property itself. There's actually old Hessian barracks on the Maryland School for the Deaf's campus. So that's going to be located essentially right across the street from the charter school in downtown as well. Okay guys, so there you have it. That's going to sum it up for Downtown Frederick, and just some of the things you should know before you get here. Again, if you have any questions at all, go ahead, send me a text, shoot me an email, give me a phone call, you name it. I love to answer any questions you guys might have and how I can help you moving to Frederick or anywhere around the Frederick area itself. Thank you.